Welcome back, Knuckleheads. I'm Lupine Fiasco, this is Daily Kayo Gameplay, and today we've got a Betsy game for you. For anyone who's new to the channel, welcome to the jungle. What we do here is review replays of games that I played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I will talk through turn cycles as if I were taking them now and give my thoughts on the line I would take, then compare that to the line I did take at the time of recording. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns, with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future, to take down paper events like the upcoming Road to Nationals, and most importantly, walk away with that shiny, shiny cardboard. If you would like to check out the list I'm playing here or try it for yourself on Talishar, a FaB deck link is available in the video description below. While you're down there, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my YouTube. A YouTube subscription is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see daily Kayo gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. If you'd like to go above and beyond, the best paid way to support me is through Patreon, and a Patreon link is also in the video description. A Patreon subscription will get you access to the daily FaB gameplay Discord. At higher tiers, your name will appear in every DKG video, you'll get bonus DKG content every week, and there are even more benefits to come. Daily Kayo gameplay will always be free 5 days a week, so for those who can afford to patronize me, I truly appreciate it. Let's talk about our sideboard and about the Betsy game plan. We are throwing off the shackles of meta-slavery for a game against Betsy. Truth be told, I don't know a lot about what this hero is trying to do. Anyone could tell you that her meta-representation and top 8 conversion in recent events have been absolute trash, but anyone can misplay against a dark horse and lose in Swiss. We'll do our best to mitigate that with our Victor sideboard plan, which has us off clashes in favor of evasion and conditional go again. Betsy will of course be trying to overpower her wage attacks, which means a few things. First, we're going to take more damage than we would like because we can't block overpower well. Our deck is full of actions that cannot block overpower in multiples. Second, we're going to deal more damage than we would expect because Betsy will need to keep cards in hand to pay for her ability. Expect her to leverage her armor early in order to gain tempo, and you should play to keep your armor for later. Block from hand where you can if it won't severely diminish the power of your turns, so that you have your armor for a late game overpower kill turn. As far as I've seen, Betsy plays like Bravo with a harder condition to meet for dealing evasive damage. So with that in mind, let's lace up our big boy leathers and put our skin in the game. We win the die roll, and we have chosen to put Betsy first. We draw into a cast bone, so we couldn't have known, but going first in this game would have been really cool for us. That said, we are just going to mitigate some damage. E-strike here coming for 7. We kill our darlings on turn 1. We're not going to save our cast bones and take damage to do so, as that 1 damage could come back to bite us later. We're also clearing cast bones out of our hand, which sets us up for a better pulping. Without knowing if Betsy is playing defense reactions, I do like pulping here, but I think even if I suspected that this was a Sink Below or a Fate Foreseen in Betsy's arsenal, I would like pulping anyway. We force her to use it and give us a card from hand. We make our might. And if Betsy does not have the D-React, then pulping is dealing evasive damage. This is a hand where I want to claw. I do think a trend of mine in this series of games and what I'm learning is that I am not correctly utilizing my Mandible Claw. It is fatigue protection, it is putting cards into our arsenal, and we can see that while we push 3 more damage this turn, we have a blue Reincarnate for our arsenal instead of a red Savage Feast. So that's really bad. we get punished for not clawing. I do find that I need to start clawing more, especially when it means I get to put good cards into my arsenal. Here we do have Betsy betting big with a 9 damage overpowered attack. She is wagering. We are not going to be able to block this out in its entirety unless we give literally all of our armor, which shockingly I don't want to do. So considering what we have in our hand, I don't hate blocking with send packing here. Intending to wild ride on my turn, pitching my blue, hopefully drawing into another blue, or at least a yellow, so that I can reincarnate out of arsenal. We can't use this send packing either way unless we wanted to open with it, which I do not want to do. I guess there is value in keeping a send packing in our deck. If we draw a discard this Wrecker Romp instead, then we pitch our send packing to play our reincarnate, and we still have a send packing in the deck, which is maybe good enough value. I'm not 100% sure if send packing or swing big is better to have for late. So maybe a value loss there. For this Wrecker Romp, we are going to pitch it to clear our reincarnate out of arsenal for sure. Definitely not something we want to have in the arsenal if we can avoid it. Looking at this hand here, it's, again, not something that we can really use to go very wide, but we will at least get to trigger Kayo this turn. Considering that Betsy has revealed a Righteous Cleansing, that she has a resource floating, and very likely has 2 blues in hand, I would like to use my flesh bag here, as I do not want to get hit for 10. Taking a card out of Betsy's hand means that she cannot Righteous Cleansing us. Very likely it's just an Anothos follow-up, which is still good, but is not 10 power banish cards from our deck good. So we will give our flesh bag and our runner. We could also block with a swing big or with a bone breaker, but following our other trend this week of blocking too early with armor, I don't like giving bone breaker here, and I think blocking with it is a mistake. As far as whether to block with runner or swing big, I do like blocking with runner. There's no guarantee that we're going to have agility for our next turn, and between swing big and runner without agility, I would rather have swing big and arsenal. Betsy here just waging gold, activating the hero power. We will block with the swing big. We'll get our 3 points of value. We are not going to have a card for the arsenal, and I think that's okay, considering that Betsy plays Command and Conquers. I don't mind not having a card in arsenal, especially considering that there's a chance that we draw a blue and discard our swing big, and now we have a crummy blue in the arsenal again. Betsy here giving us a test of strength. She and I will tie in the clash. Neither of us get gold, which is a benefit to us, as we are fine not making a gold if it means that Betsy did not make a gold. Betsy very likely drawing 2 blues here so that she cannot play the Righteous Cleansing. Coming in with Anothos for 9, not wagered. Looking at our hand, we do have a choice here. We definitely don't want to just take 9, but we could either block for 6 and keep a likely reincarnate and Bear Fangs, then have another Bear Fangs turn, similar to our last turn. We could block for 3 with a Assault and Battery, play our Bear Fangs, pitching our Reincarnate, hoping to, I don't know, banish Beast Within. We are already going to draw a card, and Bare Fangs doesn't have Go Again. So what is probably the best line here is to block Amathos with a Beast Within. On our turn, we Assault and Battery, discarding our Bare Fangs to beat Chest, to make a Might and our first Agility, and hope to chain that together into something relevant. That really is our only option. Unfortunately, we cannot block with the Bare Fangs. If we could, then we would do so, and Assault and Batter, pitching our Reincarnate and discarding our Beast Within to get a card for the arsenal. But I do think that setting up the Agility has more value than just blocking with 2 cards and Bare Fangsing again. But either line does have value. I do think that what does not have value is blocking with the Bone Breaker. I really do wish that I was saving these cards for relevant breakpoints. Choosing not to make the Agility, again, fine. We come in for 10, we make our Might, we draw a Command and Conquer for the arsenal, which is fantastic. Definitely a good card to have in the arsenal. But again, we find ourselves without Agility, and we really need it at some point to have good, relevant turn cycles. We catch a really lucky break with Betsy effectively taking a turn off ahead of our 5-card Blood Rush Bellow with Tunic. Unfortunately, we don't have an Agility, so the power of this turn really is limited unless we draw into a Wild Ride or a Pulping. Wind up here coming just a turn late. But even so, we have a really good turn where we get to Claw for 6, we get to Send Packing for 8, and we get to discard Wind Up to make our very first Agility token. So while this wasn't the best turn, it would be really cool to have started off with Command and Conquer with Go Again, then Claw, then Send Packing. This is still a really great turn for us and a really good way to take some tempo in this game. Betsy choosing to sacrifice the Righteous Cleansing that she very likely would never be able to play, or at least get value from if she did play it. We are 1 blue away from having a really good turn, so let's think about what we can do with this hand instead. I'm fine with just blocking with Command and Conquer and Pack Hunt. On our turn, we use our Tunic and pitch our Savage Feast to play a Pulping. Not using our Agility, getting very little value out of our Might, but at least we are making another Might and pushing some damage against Betsy. The Pulping will have Dominate, very likely. Betsy does not have a D-React in the arsenal, so unless she wants to give us a bunch of armor, she is going to take damage from it. And I think getting block value from our hand is better than holding on to the Tunic. I don't know that we need to block with leathers here. I do think that this line is wrong. I would have liked to give probably a Savage Feast. Oh, what am I... Oh, I'm using the Agility. Okay. I didn't see the line, but I also don't think the line is very good. I don't think this line is very good either. I think this should have been a Mandible Claw. We are still effectively getting 13 points of value this turn, but I don't like it. I would have rather had a card in Arsenal and been at more life than we are now. Blocking with the Runner here is fine. I do not want to get debilitated. On my turn, I am going to Assault and Batter, coming in for 8, making a Might and an Agility, which is just setting up to kill, hopefully on our next turn, but if not then, the turn after. Betsy does keep a 3-card hand, and I think we are going to see a bit of what I was talking about as far as Betsy taking damage that I would not expect her to take, so that she can have these big turns. And this is a triple wagered bet big that is going to make, I want to say, 3 might and 3 vigor if it hits. There may even be a gold attached to this somehow, and we can't block it. It's a ton of damage, right? Objectively a great line from Betsy, but she goes to 2 to make that happen. I mean, say we had Reckless Swing, the game just ends. Do we want to block this at this point is the question. If we block it with a Cast Bones or a Command and Conquer, we pitch the other one to play Blood Rush Bellow. We discard our Beast Within. We'll have 3 cards plus Agility. I think that's absolutely what we should do. I think blocking with Command and Conquer here is very likely correct. I'm fine giving Scab Skins as well. I don't remember entirely what I'm checking for here. It might be Reckless Swing. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. I do think blocking with Cast Bones here, as I said, is incorrect. We should be pitching it to have later. I don't expect this game to go long enough where I would see the card I pitched, but it's just good practice. Cast Bones is an excellent way to finish out a game, especially if you've been pitching all of your blue Reincarnates and Assault and Batteries. So we draw a Runner and a Swing Big with a blue and an Agility. That's going to be probably enough to close out the game, if not this turn, on the next. Runner is going to come in for 9 with Go Again, followed by a Claw for 5. So we are threatening 14 points of damage. If Betsy's hand is all 3 blocks, plus her 2 remaining pieces of armor, that is exactly lethal. If Betsy has a Test of Strength in there, maybe she can survive the turn, but she isn't going to have enough resources to do anything more than Anathos for 4, and that's totally fine. I don't mind. Well, Anathos for 7, but even then, we aren't dead. We go to 1, and very likely kill her on our next turn with Agility. We won't get that far. Betsy goes down to 1. We are going to Claw for 5. This needs to be exactly Test of Strength or a defense reaction to not be dead, and in fact it is not. So we will get and give the good game and go to the stats screen. We deal a full additional point of value over our turn cycles than Betsy does. I'm still really impressed with what Betsy was doing. I do think we were perhaps a turn faster than she needed us to be, and that's the difference between winning and losing the die roll. Tubby Watkins, I know, is an impressive player. Definitely a fixture on the daily gameplay series. So I think this was a really nice game. It was cool to see what Betsy does. Even if it didn't work here, I can see some of the potential. I think that I played the game pretty well. I am definitely starting to really internalize that KO cannot be played hand to hand, that we do need to set up larger turns. Continuing to see the importance of Mandible Claw for helping to set those turns up, the importance of saving our armor, especially against Betsy, who is going to have that big overpower turn at some point. I honestly did not know that Good Time Chapeau could be used multiple times in a turn. It did not occur to me that a Betsy with multiple gold tokens can get multiple wagers off of the Chapeau, which then lets her do a ton of blocking. If she can block 14 on that turn and live, she gets to 0 card 7 us with 3 Vigors, 3 Mights, and Anathos. That's really cool. So definitely the importance of saving that armor. And that was the game. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I hope that you too learned how Good Time Chapeau works before you run into it at your road to Nats and lose. If you did any of these things, then be sure to assault and batter that like button. My comments are always open for any questions or feedback. Again, I would ask that if you have not already done so, please subscribe to my channel. It's free. It helps me out a lot. But whatever you do, I will see you back here tomorrow for more daily KO gameplay. And until then, take care.